Hey, basketball fans. Basketball season is back, and you know exactly what that means. It's time for you to put your basketball knowledge to the test with one-day fantasy basketball at DraftKings.com. You don't draft a whole team and you're committed to it the whole season. Just one-day fantasy basketball at DraftKings. You can be part of the action every single night. With DraftKings, there are so many different ways to play. You can choose between a public contest where everyone's in it, you're all vying for a huge cash prize, or you can invite your friends and just have a private contest where you can take on your friends. DraftKings has beginner and casual contests where you'll play with people of a similar skill level. You will not start swimming with the sharks. You will develop your skills first. Drafting your team is super simple. You select 8 players to play that night, and you stay under a $50,000 salary cap. The best part is you draft a new team every single day. You get points the way they get points: scoring, assists, block, rebounds, steals, and other stats. There's no better way to turn your love of basketball into cold, hard cash tonight. Hurry to DraftKings.com now. Use the code JALEN and play free with your first deposit for your share of $10,000 in total prizes tonight. That's code JALEN, J-A-L-E-N, to play free with your first deposit only at DraftKings. The game inside the game. A minimum of $5 deposit is required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Give me your boom.
He is Jalen Anthony Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And back.
Going back to back.
Katie Nolan is back with us, everybody.
What's happening?
I still don't know what to do during that intro, but I think I did okay. I just did this.
Yeah. Jalen, what do we do?
Give the people what they want.
If the people wanted a thrilling Game 2 of the World Series, they got it in overtime victory for the Astros. I loved every second of it. Brought me back to baseball. But you know what I loved the most from the game? It was not from the game at all. It was from the pregame. Magic Johnson joined the set of the pregame show, and it was fantastic. Let's watch.
This is between you and me. Nobody's watching. Nobody need to know. What are you going to take to bring LeBron to the Lakers? I'll pay the fine.
Why is everybody laughing so hard?
I think because they're on TV and they're uncomfortable.
Is that what
I think
happens?
I think the rule is if you're on TV and you just like, everyone's like, wow. Yeah. They're really good friends. They all get along so well. This is good TV.
Can I stop now?
Yes,
okay,
please.
Good. Okay, good.
I think that's how you bail yourself out. You just laugh really hard.
Well, they did a lot of that, but also they continued to laugh even more. It wasn't over yet. Let's watch.
Oh, no.
We're trying to build a championship team with the Lakers, and hopefully next summer we'll be in line to sign free agents.
Wait.
It's not a joke.
Wait.
He's like, hopefully we'll be in line to sign free agents. Like, how do you like your coffee?
Got him. Like it with a little bit of cream.
And then I would have been the person at the desk like, nobody signed with the Lakers yet.
Yeah, they actually don't look that good.
And by the way, if you guys don't get LeBron, which I don't think is going to happen at this point.
Ooh, talk to me, Jalen Rose.
You hope to get Paul George.
Might not happen either.
You hope to get DeMarcus Cousins. Other all-star level performers, for the most part, have long-term contracts with their current teams.
Chris Paul, maybe, comes to mind.
And
Isaiah
so,
Thomas.
Again, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But how about this? Magic Johnson, 5 rings as a player, 5 as an owner, and a WNBA championship recently.
And then he goes to the World Series game, and that one went into extras, but then afterwards just like gets into a helicopter or hovercraft or whatever Magic Johnson travels in, and then just goes to the Staples Center to watch the Lakers win in overtime.
And let me double down on what you said. And then joined our set at halftime.
Ooh.
Did you guys fake laugh a lot?
That was the pregame. That was the pregame of the baseball. He did halftime of the Lakers game on the floor with us, suited and booted. So he was getting it in yesterday. Unfortunately, his squad lost in baseball, won in basketball.
Okay, but boxers or briefs?
Tiny Whitey's I love doing television. So we told you yesterday that we wanted to be like your big brothers, and you can come to us for some advice.
Yeah.
And you have a question for
I
Jalen.
do.
You need some advice.
I do need some advice. So I'm not friends with that many athletes. I don't know many of them. I imagine the both of you are.
Sounds like you're about to drop a name.
I don't. That's what I don't want it to be that. But Brandon McCarthy, the pitcher for the Dodgers.
Sorry.
I don't know him very well, but he guest hosted a show that I was on called Crowd Goes Wild. Shout out Regis Philbin.
Shout out to Reg.
So I love him. He's a super nice guy. He's really fun. And I saw him come in last night into the game, and I was like, Brandon's pitching! And it went really badly for him. And I want to know, how do you talk about that on TV? Like, how am I supposed to be nice to my friend, guy I really, really like?
It went really badly.
It's like I can't avoid the fact that he gave up the 2-run home run. It's on him. So how do you talk about that without being a jerk?
One of the best questions a friend or a colleague has ever asked me on Wax.
That just hurts my feelings, but continue.
Continue.
That really hurt my feelings, but just move on.
So a couple of things. Bad television is this. You can tell when somebody is going to give the person a break that they have their phone number, or that they went to college with, or that they played with or played for, is one of their sources, is one of their peeps. They're going to always give them the benefit of the doubt. To me, that's bad TV. So much so that they started to talk about the guy that had given up the 2-run homer, had 7 turnovers. Hey, but he's a really great guy. He's a future Hall of Famer. We didn't ask you his resume.
Right.
We asked you, how did he play last night? So here's what you do. And I did this because I was doing media as a player, and then I transitioned clearly to do it full time. You say exactly what you see. That's how you get respect.
Okay.
You hurt
So
your friend's feelings.
don't add any flair to it.
Because I don't respect you if you like, well, Brandon's my guy. We went out for drinks, and he did give up a 2-run home. I respect you more, and Brandon will respect you more. Be like, Brandon, what you doing? Like, seriously? The Dodgers needed you to come up big, and you got rocked. And then he'd be like, okay, cool. That did happen.
But that does not apply to us. You can never say anything negative about Jalen.
Oh, no. I couldn't think of a thing to say negative about you guys.
Boom, there you go.
I couldn't think of a single thing.
I can never think of something negative to say about Marshawn Lynch, and he just keeps adding to reasons why. He's suspended for being awesome, by the way, for Week 8. So while he's got some time off, guess what he did? Played football at his alma mater high school. Let's take a look at some of that. So here he is in his Raiders gear.
Amazing.
Just playing football with his high school players. So, Katie, my question for you, if you're one of those players and Marshawn Lynch shows up with full pads, are you excited or terrified?
I think terrified.
I think terrified,
I think at first you're like, oh, awesome. And then you see him put the helmet on and you're like, oh, no. Oh, no.
Wait.
He's about to play a game and it's us he's going to play it against.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you're... But maybe it's, I don't know, I'm not an athlete. I never played the game. That's what they tell me on Twitter all the time. So maybe it's an honor to get rocked by Marshawn Lynch. I don't know.
It's an honor.
Okay.
That was the best thing that could have happened to every one of those athletes. Because you think you're physical. You think you're strong. You think you're playing hard. You think you're going to the NFL. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to tackle that guy that's actually in the NFL. And all of a sudden, you're like, yeah, I'm going to line up and I'm going to stick this dude. And then he stiff arm you to the ground. Boom. And now the coach sits back like, yeah, see, I told you wasn't ready. And that becomes the testimony of a player to continue to work to get better, because you have a long way to go if you're going to make it to that next step.
So we're going to keep it moving. Not everything is worth discussing.
Very true.
In the world of sports news especially. So we filter it all out with this. If you want to discuss it, you say hit the brakes. I hit the brakes. If you want to keep it moving, Method Man tells us to keep it moving. You ready to go?
Ready to go.
The Yankees announced that Joe Girardi will not return as the manager. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Oh, okay. Girardi was skipper for 10 years. Took him to a championship. They went to Game 7 of the American League Championship Series, and now he was fired.
I just think it's weird and dumb. We don't have to talk about it for too much longer than that.
Point.
Just weird and dumb.
Weird and dumb is a good take. I will say this, though, is Jalen and I always say, happiness is a function of what?
Expectations.
And I felt like they exceeded their expectations as a team, and he still got fired.
Right.
As the Midwesterner here, you guys from the East Coast and young ladies, you're so brash, and you want it right now.
Yep.
And there are 3 teams that made the playoffs that all fired their coaches in Major League Baseball.
That's a good point.
They're all from the East Coast.
Okay.
And also, no one is talking about this. Don't be surprised. It's a layup. I'm going to put it right out here. I might have to go carry my bat for this one. He has to end up with the Marlins and Jeter.
Oh, I like it. I like it. I like what you did there.
Ooh.
Next, Josh Smith has signed with the Pelicans. Katie, keep it moving or hit the brakes.
They're trying to get somebody fired, boy. It's going to be some attitudes. Him, Rondo, and Boogie.
LeVar Ball continues to talk.
Keep it moving.
Odell Beckham Jr. is reportedly dating
Hit the brakes.
songstress.
Hit the brakes. Who?
Odell, this is according to Us Weekly.
Okay.
Serious journalism. They're kind of like on their stuff.
Yeah.
And Odell Beckham and Iggy Azalea
No.
were rumored to have some bowling date a few months ago.
What?
And now there are multiple sources telling Us Weekly that they are a thing. How do
You made
feel
that sound
about
like you were going to say something else, and you just said the thing you already said.
Well, listen.
No, it was good.
You know.
I didn't know she was still around.
Like alive?
I mean, I thought maybe she went back
As
home.
an artist.
I don't
To
know.
Australia?
I don't know.
I like this. I like this.
We are kicking people out of the country right now. I don't know if you've noticed. It's not like a
Good
weird
point.
thing to
Yeah.
haven't seen her or heard
Yeah,
from
they're
her.
like, well, we gave you a work visa, and
Sure,
I haven't seen any
right.
of your work.
Yeah, exactly.
And I haven't heard any of your music.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
And
So
you
who
you
knows?
called her a songstress. I don't know how I feel about that.
I just wanted to keep the mystery going as who it could be.
Right.
Yeah,
Because if
yeah,
you said
yeah.
a rapper,
I
nope,
didn't
still
wanna
wouldn't have
call
thought
that
it was
either.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
didn't wanna call it that either.
No, that's interesting. I always wonder how these people meet each other. When did their... Do you think it's as dry as, like, I text my agent and I'm like, yo, I want to date her? Like,
it's DM. I really think that's what it is.
You think so?
Well, I've been with the same person for 15 years, so I have no
that's
idea how
bad.
people meet in
Yeah.
the real world.
You guys just said both. Either DM and or through agents.
But if someone's
Have you ever done that in your whole entire life? Say,
Uh,
please reach out to this person?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Are you lying?
No.
Are you
To me-
lying?
lying.
Ask again. Let's ask again.
No,
Yeah.
no. But I'm gonna tell you, because to me that's corny. Because
It is corny.
Very.
Because if I got a call from an agent that's like such and such wants to, I'd be like, ew,
my
this
client,
right.
blank
It's like
and
in
blank.
middle
Oh,
school
no.
and someone's like, do
Yeah.
you want to date John?
Yeah.
He really likes you. It's like, send John's ass over here then. I don't want to deal with
Yeah, I
you.
want to deal with you, Kevin. I want to talk to John. If he's into it. All right, let's keep moving.
I wonder what Nick Young thinks about that.
I don't think Nick Young really thinks. You know what I mean? I think that's one of his strengths, though.
Yeah,
I think that's one of his
I agree.
strengths. He
I
just like
agree.
shoots baskets.
I agree.
Reggie Miller took a trip down the hypothetical highway. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
I don't know what that means. So keep it moving.
That's the
There you go.
NYU and David
That's how
Jacoby
it
coming
game.
out.
That's how a game.
Shout, Reg.
There's one more thing that LeBron wants to accomplish in his career, according to LeBron.
Okay, hit the brakes. Only one?
It's ridiculous.
Hairline.
LeBron said this, quote, I want to
Wear
shoot...
a do-rag during the NBA game.
I want to shoot 80% from the free throw line, man. That's my only goal. That's my last goal of my NBA career. That's my last one. I've done everything else.
No, he hasn't done everything else. There is one position that he's never gotten like a 20-point, 10-assist game. It's center. He has not had a really good game at center. So that should be your first goal. And then you can just don't say it's the only thing he hasn't done.
You know what I love about LeBron? He continues to humble brag
I know.
about himself all of the time.
This is him
And
basically
it's
saying,
true.
I have done everything there is to do. I am the greatest of all time, better than Michael Jordan, but I need to shoot 80% from
And can I tell you how this really comes off as a player that was in the league when Michael Jordan was actually dominating the league? It sounds
Seems
like
we should listen for your perspective.
Keep it moving.
this sounds like somebody that's playing in the era of the Golden State Warriors.
Ooh.
So he like, don't put me championship or bust, because they're still out there.
Yes. Yeah, realistic expectations, like we said
Oh,
before.
yeah,
He's setting the
yeah.
expectations to be like, I do not want to win another championship. I do not want to win another championship. I do not want to win another championship.
What percentage is he currently shooting?
Not close to 80.
First of all, we don't like follow-up questions like
Okay,
that
sorry,
on
I'm
this
sorry,
program
I'm sorry, I'm
because
sorry.
that requires
Keep it
research
moving.
and
I
actual
know, you're right,
knowledge.
you're right.
Yeah,
I just don't have
exactly.
any sense of what percentage of shots he's hitting.
100.
Okay, great. So he
100%.
just wants to be worse.
The Patriots' Dante Hightower is out for the season. Keep
Oh,
it
I
moving or hit
don't
the
want to
brakes.
talk about it, so keep it moving. That's such a bummer.
Darrell Wallace Jr. is doing something in NASCAR that has not happened in 46 years.
Well, hit the brakes.
A black driver.
I was going to say he's black,
Boom!
so that's it.
There
Wait, literally,
you go.
is it?
Wallace was named the 2018 full-time driver for Richard Petty Motorsports, and he will become the first African-American driver with a full-time ride in NASCAR Cup Series since Wendell Scott in 1971.
It's a shame he's going to get pulled over right away. Hit the
You know,
pants.
and
Here's
I
the
hope
thing.
the body cameras are working.
I know jokes are funny when they make me angry. You know what I mean? Like, that one makes me angry and jealous. I'm just like, oh, that was good, Katie. But she's not coming back next segment. I'm telling the producer right now, like, we can't have her back. She's too funny.
No, I've met him. He's really cool. He's really nice. He's like young, which is a thing that a lot of NASCAR doesn't really have. A lot of. He's great. I think it's going to be great for this.
The man better watch out. The man better watch out. Like when Tiger started to go.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Watch out.
Drake doesn't want to win any Grammys this year. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Hit the brakes. There's too many good jokes.
Drake didn't submit More Life or any of the songs for any of the categories. I think this is just a clerical error, like his assistant made a mistake.
Yeah,
but he's saying it's like a playlist and it's not an album. That sort of thing.
So an album is a playlist.
Good point.
It's a numbered
Good
list
point.
of songs you push play on. So that's
Okay.
a dumb thing to say, first of all. Second of all, what?
He did. I think. Here's what happened. He wrote a really mean email to his assistant or his team, and just be like, "Y'all missed the deadline, didn't you?" And they're like, "No, that was a strategy because we didn't think it was an
PR
album."
was like, how do we spin it? How do we spin it?
Exactly.
Hey girl, have you done something new with your scales? Using new moisturizer? Nice. It really brings out the hazel in your eyes. Oh, hold on. Are you using whitening strips too? Your fangs look good, girl. Really good.
A really charming snake charmer? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
Wait, what? Have you been doing Pilates too?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Jalen did a thing he often does where he goes to the bathroom during the break and just kind of doesn't come back forever.
Yep.
You know?
Hey,
so it's
let's
just me and
not
Katie
air
for the moment.
his, he can take as much time as he wants in the
Yeah.
bathroom.
No, he's just on the phone. He's not actually. He's not actually
okay.
using the bathroom. Yeah.
All right.
And he basically knows that you're here, so he
Yeah.
can take some time off and not
Yeah.
just leave me by
I-
myself.
he's earned
I get
that.
it. Yeah,
He's
it's
earned
fine.
that.
It's
You
totally
haven't.
fine.
If you leave-
I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm really not bothered by it.
Doesn't seem
at
like
all.
it.
Yeah, not. Uncle Mar is someone on Twitter who's one of our co-producers because he's provided more content to the show than most of us have.
I have one of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. So this is Uncle Mar. He says, soft move or boss move, putting stuff in the trash without a trash bag.
Ooh, soft move.
Yeah.
It's you're only screwing yourself.
You got to clean the trash
You have
can
to
later.
take that out later. It's like sometimes you're just too lazy to get the bag. I get that, but it's worth it because you don't want to have to.
So you live in New York, and I'm a New Yorker, and I moved to Los Angeles. So I never really dealt with like bringing the trash can to the end of the driveway
Right.
for years and years and years. And I saw my neighbor washing the trash can with a hose.
That seems.
Is that a thing that you're supposed to do?
So I don't know, but I would say probably.
But washing the
not.
trash can? That's
Well,
like
maybe
washing
he put
soap.
maybe it's not like washing soap.
opposite of
it's like
washing
washing
soap.
a sink, right? Because the sink is already clean, so you don't really have to wash it.
I just kind of feel like if I put trash in there, like it's not going to ever be clean.
I think maybe that guy either was avoiding something else he had to do, and or his wife.
His
So it's like, I'm
family,
going to go out
most likely.
and clean the trash.
He spends a lot of time smoking
cans.
cigarettes on the porch. Shout out to him.
Shout to
A
him.
lot of time.
Or he's maybe he knows somebody who works in the waste management profession, and out of respect for them, wants to clean. Or he had put like lawn clippings or something into the trash, and he just wanted to rinse it out.
I understand. Well,
These are all really good reasons.
we have another co-producer
Okay.
named Finger Roll Jones. Is his name?
Finger roll?
Yeah, and he's got his own logo as his avatar. Finger Roll Jones. This is
okay.
one of our favorite tweeters. Not like Big Crown, the mailman, who is one of our greatest co-producers. His question is twerking cultural?
Wow.
I'm saying no.
I think because I can't do it.
I have.
Whether I want to or not, I
heard
can't.
that there's videos on the internet. It's like a big thing in Russia. I heard that.
Oh.
I'm gonna say yeah.
It
It's
is?
cultural. It's cultural.
In Russia?
Yeah.
I
heard. A friend showed me a
This is what I
video
don't
once.
understand. Like, you one time saw it, maybe, or like, did you research this? I'm so
Hold on.
confused. Okay, sure. Yep.
Okay. This is from James. Jacoby, I need to write a strongly worded email to my congressman. Any advice for me since you're the expert on the subject?
What?
I like to write strongly worded emails.
To
You know what I mean?
congressmen or just in general?
Well, just to try to affect change.
Okay.
You know, so if there's something that I feel is unjust, I will write a strongly worded email about it. Or sometimes it's just a suggestion.
What's the last one you wrote? Like, who was it to and what was it about? Just give me some context.
I wrote, Jalen Rose was not in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, and a lot of people that were undeserving were.
Yep.
So I wrote a strongly worded email, and now he's in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you take credit for that every day?
Every single day.
Every single day. All right, so this
where
guy...
is Jalen? Do you know?
I don't know.
I'm confused.
Maybe he went to the Michigan Hall of Fame. So this guy wants what? Advice on how to
write an email to his congressman?
Yep.
Yeah, just do it, I suppose.
Wow,
From
that's
your heart.
bad advice.
Use good grammar.
Here's the thing. You don't know me, sir, and I don't know you, but here's my advice.
James Somerville.
Make it shorter than you think.
Oh yeah.
I will say, I get emails a lot from people that you can tell are like,
point.
I'm writing an email to Katie Nolan. I want her to hear me out. I have a lot to say. But if it's 6 paragraphs, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to read that later. I do not have time right now to read that. And then I forget to get back to you. Now, granted, I'm not a congressman. But in this day and age, anything can happen.
Not yet.
Except, well, I'm a woman, so I don't know if I can ever be president. But
okay.
they're just keep it succinct. I think that they will. They're probably used to getting a lot of long ones. And he'll probably respect and appreciate the brevity, which they say is the soul of wit.
Really?
Yeah, brevity is the soul of wit.
Oh, I just thought it was because Twitter only had 140 characters.
Well, 280 if you're.
Is that how it works now? Did that happen?
Some people have 280.
Do I have to write a strongly worded email and ask for 280?
I've seen a lot of people, like a lot of the worst people got 280. I have trolls that can now call me all the words in one tweet instead of having to tweet a bunch.
Another one.
Yeah.
I just don't like to know that there's a VIP section if I can't get into it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Don't tell me that there's another thing that like I feel bad for not being involved in, even though I do not want it. I don't want to know of that some like. Now I'm upset.
And this is a dumb thing to say out loud, but I don't care. We're in a safe place. You know that they had a quota of blue check marks that they let have 280. There's no way they wanted to come off like they gave all of us like more privileges. And so most of the people who got 280 are like just an average Joe. And good for them.
What's the blue check mark policy?
I don't. They get very weird about it. I think if you're a journalist, you can have it.
Did you pretend you didn't want one for a really long time?
No,
I pretended I didn't want one.
The second I got on TV, I was like, so who do I talk to about this? Who do I call?
Yeah, it's like, what is the thing? I pretended I didn't want one. Like, they were like, hey, do you want one, Jacoby? I was like, no, man. I'm a regular guy. I'm just a bro, you know? Like, I'm just like everybody else in the world. I don't need those kind of privileges.
You know why I needed it? Because there's when you get the blue check mark, you can filter out your @ mentions by just verified people. So on a day when you've got a take that maybe pisses off Cowboys fans because you don't like somebody they signed, then you can. I can still check my Twitter to see if you said something to me, but I don't see any of the other stuff. I just need to filter
about the
out
addition of Cole Beasley.
Yeah, I was like, this is BS.
Yes, yeah. But Greg Hardy's cool. I'm totally cool with him.
Yeah, me too.
Well, next question.
He's MMA fighting now. Did you know that?
Jalen?
No. Yes. That's what's taking so long.
That's why he's not back. He's MMA fighting?
Greg Hardy.
Yeah, I did see that, and I saw some trainer be like, "Greg Hardy's tearing it up in the MMA." It's just like, is this your image rehabilitation, Mr. Hardy?
Oh yeah. I want everybody to know I'm not a violent man, so I'm going to call myself the Kraken, and I'm going to
go to the
fight MMA,
the octagon.
Yeah.
I'm never training in any sort of MMA gym or any of that stuff.
Why would you?
Man, people do that. It's like a thing. It's like a hip like workout craze, like CrossFit or whatever. Like, oh, I work out in an MMA gym. That's what I do.
Jalen boxes.
Okay. What? Jalen doesn't box.
Oh.
Molly boxes. Okay? Every time Jalen goes to the boxing gym is because Molly like booked a thing to go to the boxing gym and he goes there.
That's
and
interesting.
he's not here to defend himself because he's defending himself in the octagon right now in an MMA bout.
This feels I don't know what to say.
Unfair is the name of the game around here.
I just met Jalen, and so I feel like I should defend him here. I don't want to lose him as a friend. But he did tell me to just say what's real. So that's how you get respect. You say what the truth is, and it sounds like the truth is he doesn't box.
Katie, there's something that I learned about in the world of sports and pop culture that needs to be discussed on this ESPN radio program.
Okay, what's that?
The Browns Bulldog mascot is not available for Week 8, so his cousin Otto is going to be taking his place.
Is this a bit?
No, a flight to London because they're playing there because that's something that the NFL does for no real reason. Yeah, make people do that.
It's dumb.
So, that's not what's important. What's important is they named the mascot dog Swagger. What year? Does you think this is 2014?
Also,
Like, why would you go Swagger?
you said Cleveland, yeah?
Cleveland, yeah.
Is a brown a dog?
We did a lot of
Why
research
is-
on this show once. We don't research anything, but we researched into why the Browns are called the Browns.
Yeah.
And they're named after, I might get this wrong because I forget everything.
Okay.
No, it's not that. It's not
Okay.
that. It's just someone whose last name was Brown. It's like Art Brown or something. So they're named after, it's one of the worst
So why do they
names
get to
in
have a
sports.
dog? And why is there a thing like the dog pound?
The Dog Pound
Yeah.
is
I
their
don't-
thing because they had a couple people show up and just... Oh, Paul Brown
Paul
is the
Brown.
guy's name.
Good thing we got that right.
Because
People were
their
going to call
fans
in.
used to show up with the dog masks, which I always watch them. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for those guys, and I just think about how uncomfortable it is under there. Like they have
Yeah.
to breathe that rubber.
So I'm sorry.
mask
Why
thing.
can't the mascot go?
I think he's on the injured reserve. He or she, Swagger. Swagger's
he or
hurt.
she. That is fair.
Yeah, Swagger's hurt.
Swagger don't quit except when they need the week off, I guess.
Yeah,
Good joke.
Swagger
Good joke.
didn't want the flight. The flight was too long for
Yeah.
Swagger.
That's weird.
I'm surprised Old Spice
You get
hasn't sponsored
free,
Swagger
that is
yet.
very true. You get
Yeah.
a free trip to London, and you're like, no, thank you. I'm sick.
Jalen is back from his MMA fight. He's
How was
joining
it?
us. Did you win?
It was the gyro.
Is that how we're saying that word now?
Gyro.
Isn't it hero?
It's
like
No,
gyro?
it's gyro. It's gyro.
I'm from
Jalen
the
had a
hood.
gyro.
Gyro
Eating
is
a lot of Coney
definitely
Island
wrong.
growing up, and that's what we call it, gyro.
That's definitely wrong. But I
was trying to say that you weren't that you were actually on the phone. I was trying to be nice and cover for you.
No, that's
and
my
then
phone.
here you go and you get on the
He
air and you're
literally
just
just
like,
said, I left my phone.
Yeah, you're just like get back on the air and be like, no, I was in the bathroom.
No,
blowing it up.
that was personal.
Oh no.
It's the gyro.
Should we alert the staff and they close it up?
No.
Okay.
Where did you go? Because I don't want to. Tell me later when we're off the radio. I don't want to eat lunch there.
The men's room.
Men's room.
No, not the. I meant the. Where'd you get the gyro from? It's fine.
Cleo,
We'll talk about it.
downstairs.
They
on
won't be
blast.
giving us free food anymore. No. Katie,
Yeah.
you're familiar with the film Bad Boys?
Yes.
Okay.
The original or two? Which one? Bad Boys.
Both, yeah, this is the franchise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You've got Will Smith, Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
Excellent film. Bad Boys 2, not as good. So they're working on Bad Boys 3.
Why are they doing this now with every movie?
Free money.
No new ideas. And because the thing is, there's a guaranteed, like, X amount of people will be interested in this.
I know, but it's
And
And
you
it's
come up with-
guaranteed the studio will give us X amount of millions
That's
to
probably
shoot
it,
it.
yeah.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
it,
It's
yeah.
just business. Follow the money.
Fair, fine.
Here's what's happening, though. One of my favorite people on the planet, Gabrielle Union. She played Agent Sidney Burnett in Bad Boys 2. They're working on a television spin-off based on her character. Jalen, would you rather have a Bad Boys 3 film or a Bad Boys TV spin-off based around Gabrielle Union?
First off, when they do the television spinoff, is she going to star in it?
Yes.
Okay.
If they do the movie, will she also be in it?
Good follow up question.
Yes.
The movie. Get more bread.
Oh, you think so?
No question.
But here's the thing. I don't have Gabrielle Union's tax return in front of me, but I think she's got plenty of money between her and Dwayne Wade.
I know, but look at it like this. You shoot the movie, then it's done.
It's
it lives
done.
forever. Television, that sounds like work.
Also,
Is-
your show's always on the verge of getting canceled. It's really
Is this
stressful.
an either or situation?
Oh, I made it that.
Oh, but
No.
I'm saying, are we getting both? Because that's going to
We
be
might.
weird.
Bad Boys 3 has been stalled,
Ooh.
which means someone's asking for too much money.
Right.
Which means Martin Lawrence is asking for too much money. Or Will Smith is just like, you know that my career has changed a little bit since
Yeah.
Bad
How
Boys.
much money do you think Martin Lawrence should get paid to make Bad Boys 3 here in 2017?
So Jalen has explained this to me, how this works. Because here's the thing, is I pretend to know everything, but sometimes Jalen really enlightens me to some things, especially in the business world. He's like, here's how this works. The studio tells their agents, let's say we have $40 million for the two of you. You guys split up that 40 mil. And then Martin Lawrence's agent says, I want 20. And then Will Smith's agent hangs up the phone. And then they end up giving Martin like 5. Right, Jalen? Something like that?
Yes. And the thing is, the most important conversations about your career, you're not on the phone.
yeah, that's true.
I learned that as a player. I'm like, wait a minute, what did the team say? Like, why don't you three-way me in and just let me press mute and listen? You know what I mean? Like, this is kind of important to me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wait a minute. So let me get this right. So the agents are still going to work with the teams and the companies when we're not around.
Long after you stop playing professional basketball.
Right? So you have a relationship with your agent. Your agent has a relationship with the entity or the company, but their relationship is closer.
Yeah, and longer.
It's not like that in media, though. It's not like that at all in media.
No, we all have the same agent in media.
Yeah, exactly.
And
That's
the
how it
exact
works.
same thing happens.
Yeah.
We have said money for the show.
Yeah.
You figure out how much it's going to take to get your talent to do it.
Interesting.
Cristiano Ronaldo
Yes, soccer.
posted a picture of himself working out, and his legs were on there. Extremely muscular legs. Which you would expect, the guy's a soccer player. But here's a question. Posting that picture of your kids watching you work out,
Ew.
soft move or boss move?
Oh,
Soft move.
So if you're listening on radio, you're driving home, just imagine that there's a dude working out his legs while his 5-year-old son is next to him holding his brand new baby.
And he's wearing really short shorts,
Yes.
real short, and his legs look like a turkey leg you get at one of those
One of those
mid
fairs.
fairs.
And here's the thing.
Medieval
Can I say
fairs.
something about those turkey legs quickly? I want to put them in the same category as cigars. Much better on paper than in real life.
Yeah.
You want to hold
you
one
wanna
in your
eat a
hand.
meat, but then you get it, and you're
then
like,
you get it,
no.
you're like, this is awful.
And
So many
it
long
smells-
bones
yeah.
or whatever those things.
Yes,
inside
yes,
of
I know that
Yes.
thing.
The tendon.
It's
Yeah.
I'm not.
Right?
It's like a ligament tendon
Yeah.
thing. I'm not
Oh,
a
yeah, maybe a
doctor.
ligament,
Yeah,
yeah.
who knows? Ask me
A
the difference
doctor.
between a ligament and a
Chicken?
tendon
I
is.
don't-
I'm not a person that knows things I should have
And
said.
you left off another person. Whoever's taking the picture.
So there's the kids. No, it's probably another one of his kids taking the picture.
It's really creepy.
And also, for anybody that's ever worked out in their lives,
So not me. Got
Okay,
it.
yeah, so not us.
So I'm out.
if you're on a leg machine and your legs are extended, they will look exactly like that.
Oh, so you're just
Stressed.
saying it's just like it's a good angle. It's like a MySpace angle, essentially,
Correct.
for
It's
a
a
face.
MySpace angle for your legs.
It's not a totally special picture.
Oh, wow. So you're
okay.
saying that if
So
you were to
your
go right
legs-
now to the gym,
your legs would
you
look
could
like
take
that.
a picture like that.
Correct.
I might hold you to that now that you
Correct.
follow me on Twitter. I know where to find you, and I can ask you.
All right. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna look if I follow Katie Nolan on Twitter.
No, it's really not
Let's do this
necessary.
live,
It's
too.
really not
I'm
worth it.
assume that I do.
That's
I
what
mean,
we
your
do in this
listeners
program.
should at
I
Katie
assume
Nolan. It's
that I do.
KATIENOLAN.
Yeah.
We've been looking for a new member of the team and the family, and we found a third member.
Yes.
Following
Oh,
Katie
you
Nolan.
do. Now, I don't know why I was just going to turn the heat on myself. I don't know which of you. I don't know if I follow both of you
I mean, here's the thing.
or one of you.
We're not going to put you on the spot.
Good, great,
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
I'll take care
Don't
of
worry
it.
about it.
We're not going to put you on the spot.
I probably do.
Luxury car brand Aston Martin has begun selling a special Tom Brady edition
I need one of those.
of their car. There it is right there. It's
Oh,
fancy.
yeah.
It's got the logos all over it. It's going to cost you $360,000.
Yeah,
Katie, I know you like Tom Brady.
I do.
Are you saving up for a down payment on that?
I was gonna say that's either my mortgage or that car. So yes, I'm gonna buy the car.
You can live in the
You
car.
get the mortgage exists, so you don't have to pay it all at once.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Yeah, I'm going to get
Yeah.
that car.
And
They're
you
only
can-
making 12 of them, though.
You can sleep in the car.
I know that is very true.
You know?
They're only making 12. So it's like you not only do you have to have that money, you have to know enough people to be like, how do I get on that list? Who do
Do
I
you
have
think
to
they've
know?
sold any?
I think that they're gonna go like that, don't you? No, I thought maybe I'm just.
No, I always just imagine like Dubai comes to mind. It's like, oh, someone in Dubai will buy one.
That is true. How much is a regular Aston Martin? I'm
Again,
nouveau riche. I don't know any
You know
of these
I don't
things.
like follow up questions.
You probably know. What do you drive?
200.
No, look at Jalen's car. Jalen once drove this thing. It is
What? It's
the
that looks like a toy
international
truck.
CXT truck.
Wait, you're joking,
You
right?
owned one of those in real life, Jalen Rose.
I did, as a member of the Toronto Raptors. My good friend who also works in the media, James Brown, has one also. But here's the thing.
That's ugly.
I had a townhouse, a 4-level one, right off the water. It was fly.
Oh, okay.
Lakeshore.
Great.
We get it.
I never thought about the fact that where I'm going to park this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And so what ended up happening is I had a friend, Morris Peterson, who actually was working with a car dealership. I had to park my car there, which means in the middle of winter, when I wake up in the morning, my vehicle is not where I need it.
You drove that every day? That was your everyday car?
I drove it for a year or so.
How do you
Crazy.
It was cold. It was
parallel
black.
park?
It was awesome, but it was too big.
It's ugly.
Katie,
Why?
you're from Massachusetts
Yes.
originally. I am also originally from Massachusetts.
Cool, congratulations.
And we've got a Massachusetts topic
Okay,
for us.
great. Ooh, I think I know this one.
Yeah. A Massachusetts State Commission is studying whether they should leave the Eastern time zone to go to the Atlantic time zone, because during the winter, sunset is at like 4:15 some days. And they're like, you know what? Let's leave this time zone and get more sunlight throughout the year. I do not understand why anyone would not support this.
Right. And here's the thing. There's apparently some weird law that you can't opt into daylight savings time year-round, which is what they originally wanted to do. You can opt out of it, which is what Arizona did.
So it's like a gang.
Yeah, so it's like you can't do it all the time. You can decide to never do it, I guess.
Do you have to get beat up by all your friends?
I think
or
so.
something like that
I think
to get
you've
out of
got to
it?
do something weird. But so they wanted to do that, and then they found out they couldn't. But then they were like, "Oh, we can switch into the Atlantic time zone." That's what it is, right? Atlantic.
Yeah.
I'm for it, but I also time is confusing to me.
It's very confusing.
I don't know that I get what I'm gaining from that.
Either. I think here's what I think it is. I think it's like some dudes in Boston were like, "Ooh, if we switch time zones, bars are open later."
Or Massachusetts could just come out of like prohibition and stop closing bars at 2.
That's a good point.
They should just keep them open all
Massachusetts
night.
could just secede.
Oh, Massachusetts closes at 2?
Yeah.
Reminds me of Detroit.
Early.
And last call is at like 1:45.
Yeah.
And we talk about these things, Jalen, but like, let's be honest with each other. We're both in bed by like 9:45.
Well, because there are only a couple of things that are open past 2. Hospitals, jails, and legs.
7-Eleven. Wow! It's not where I thought we were going with that. I wasn't ready. I said 7-Eleven. I'm over here like actually helping
you want some milk? It's actually open past 11. Isn't that crazy? They used to name it 7 to 11, and now they didn't.
I had to redeem myself for your good joke earlier
Of course.
about the NASCAR driver.
Katie, I want to thank you for joining us the last couple
Thank you
days.
for having
You are
me.
welcome
You
to
guys are the
come as
best.
often as you
Anytime,
would like.
that's mutual.
Thank you.
Right now, we're going to answer your questions via voicemail. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. If you leave us a voicemail, Reggie goes through them, and then he puts them on the show just like this.
Yo, what up? This is Alex from Buffalo, coming at you from the University of Pittsburgh. Daily podcast listener. Listen every day to and from class, even during class sometimes. Big shout out to the crew, Reg, Barron, Harlan, all the rest of the guys and girls. Shout out. First thing, big shout out to Bob, called last week. He's from D.C. Great call, 4 good questions. My question, just turned 21 this past weekend. Any advice for, novice bar goer? What's the etiquette? What drinks do I get? What's the do's and don'ts? Let me know. Also, we say all the time on this program, or you guys say all the time on this program, happiness is a function of your expectations. So, with the Boston Celtics losing Gordon Hayward for the season, what are the realistic expectations for the Celtics? I'm thinking 4 or 5 seed, probably losing the second round, but we'll see. Just let me know what the expectations should be as me, a Celtics fan. Die hard, not die easy. All right, later.
All right, shout out to you, Alex. Happy birthday. 21 years old. You're in Pittsburgh. You're from Buffalo.
There are notable birthdays. When you become a teenager, 13. When you get 16, you're able to drive. When you
18.
get 18, you're just grown. Nobody could tell you
21.
anything.
And then you just go to the zeros, 30, 40, 50.
No question. But let me tell you this. Your life is physically going to change.
Physically.
Emotionally and psychologically when one thing happens. All of your bills are in your name. Mm-hmm. That's when your life changes.
He's not there. He's still in University of Pittsburgh.
So enjoy it.
Enjoy that. And here's another thing. I love that Alex acted like he's never been to a bar before. Like he didn't have a fake ID the last 2 years. He's like, I don't even know. Like, what's the etiquette? How do these bars work? Do you ask for drinks from the bartender? Like, I like Alex is doing that just in case his parents were listening or something.
Smart
Alex,
move.
I know you've been to bars before, Alex.
Smart move.
I know you've been to bars you've been going to bars since you were like a senior in high school.
Especially if you listen to our show in class.
Yeah, in class. Yeah. You know, if you're that type of dude with the one headphone in class with your hand next to your ear so no one can see the headphone is in.
I know. It used to be funny in class. I put both my hands next to my ears, look like I'm trying to act like I'm looking down at the table.
Oh, because when you were in college, they didn't have in-ear headphones. They didn't have those when I was in college. They had the Walkman and everything went over your head, so it was a little harder to be conspicuous. But I found that a winter hat was always good. Because I was in New York, so a winter hat wasn't crazy to wear a winter hat inside. It's not crazy. So you put a winter hat on, and you can listen to the headphones. But we digress. Alex, just tip your bartender. You know, if the drink is $4, just leave the dollar. I know you're broke, you're in college, but like just karmically it comes back to you, you know?
And also, I want to give you some drinking responsible tip that you should never forget. Know what you can handle and stay in your lane.
Jalen Rose.
Don't be the guy, since it's your birthday, now you want to start taking 15 shots of tequila.
And
Don't be him.
And here's one thing that I learned over decades is let the drinks hit before you evaluate whether or not you can have another one. Because sometimes you'll have a shot and you'll be like, that was great. I'm going to have another one of those. But it's only been 3 minutes, so you haven't really fully felt the effects of the first one. And that's how you find yourself in some trouble.
And also,
eat first, too.
You're in college. Definitely eat something.
Eat first. Eat just a loaf of bread.
Eat. No, not a loaf of bread. He's going to be 21.
I'm saying he's broke.
It's his birthday. Make sure you get some fast food. Make sure you do whatever. Put something in your stomach.
Yes.
But also, you have to make sure. Drink to enjoy yourself, not to get drunk.
Good point.
Nobody likes anyone that's drunk.
Yes. And also, you become, the drunker you get, you become more, I'm going to say more assertive with talking to people of the opposite sex, but the drunker you get, the less attractive you become to people of the opposite sex. So there's sort of like a double-edged sword there. So what you need to do is find your happy medium, Alex. And let's move on to your basketball-related question. Realistic expectations for the Celtics. He sends around the 4-5 seed, losing in the second round.
Yep. I will say this about the media. We're so fair weather. Just think about this. If you watch programming the way I do and the topics that get discussed about the NBA, have you noticed since Gordon Hayward got injured, the media doesn't talk about Kyrie Irving leaving again?
No.
It's not even discussed anymore. No. You know why? Because his injury was so tragic, it took us away from basketball. And it humanized everything to the point where LeBron and he were patting each other on the head 15,000 times after the game, as opposed to this anger that everybody thought was going to be every time that take place every time these two teams face one another. And the storyline of can't he carry a squad? Can they win the East? That's not even a discussion no more. I'm rolling with you, 5th seed. No.
I'm going to go 2nd or 3rd seed.
I say in the East, top 3 seed.
You've got Wizards, Raptors, Bucks, Celtics. That's going to be the top 5 in the East, in my mind. Wizards, Raptors, Bucks, Celtics, in some order behind the Cavs.
No surprise there.
And I could see it go any different way. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to order these teams right now, like 4 games into the season. But as the season progresses, we'll see who stays healthy, who's playing well, and what happens. Thank you so much for the call, Alex. Congratulations on your 21st birthday. It's a milestone. Shout out to you. You don't have to fully pay attention in class, but if you're listening to J&J, try not to laugh out loud when you're in class. And just pay attention to what the assignment is and what the topics are and what they're writing on the board.
Oh, and last thing, make sure you graduate.
Yep.
What up, though? It's your boy Ty from Brooklyn. Shout out to Katie Nolan. I think she did a good job yesterday on Women's Crush Wednesday. I like her. She's feisty. But I wrote a couple of things down to talk to you guys about really quick, and I wanted to get you guys' opinions and answers on it. My first question, I don't know if y'all heard about the story about Joel Berry from UNC. He broke his hand playing a video game. I wanted to know what you guys think, what game he was playing. I think he was playing 2K and he couldn't hold his own. But my second comment is I was listening to you guys yesterday talking about the Colin Kaepernick book, and I suggest that the book should be called Kneecap. Tell me what you guys think. Shout out to Reg, shout out to Harlan, shout out to Los, and the rest of the staff, and keep giving the people what they want.
Big shout to Carlos.
No doubt.
Let's start with where he started. Joel Berry's playing video games and broke his hand. Definitely throwing a controller or hitting something after the fact. Could be anything. One thing I don't play that many video games that aren't golf related. You know, that's my only video game. Is the shoot 'em up games. We used to play that Bond game a lot. I don't like dying in video games. You know, it's one thing when you lose a basketball game in a video game or you have a bad shot in a golf game, but it's something else when you get a shot and you're dead.
And I felt like that when Grand Theft Auto became really popular. I'm like, I'm good.
I don't know if I like this.
I want to practice carjacking and shooting somebody in the head.
I don't need that.
And by the way, I've been on the wrong side of that.
Exactly. Good
it's
point.
Not funny to me.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto was like, I don't know if this is good for the young people. I don't know if this is good for the youth. Ty's first question was that, and his second question was, is suggesting title for the Kaepernick book, Kneecap.
That's dope. I like it.
Not bad.
I like it a lot.
Ty had more time to think of it than we did.
His was better than all of ours.
Yeah. Kneecap is pretty good. Maybe like...
Just so you know, I'm going to run with that. So when you see me on Sports Center, just at me.
Yeah, Ty, here's the thing. We'll plagiarize. You know? We'll get plagiarized and we will plagiarize. But one thing is if I steal from Jalen, if Jalen steals from me, that doesn't count.
No, it doesn't.
No, we're brothers.
It's like being in the studio.
Yeah, it's a hive mind.
It don't matter who came up with the hook. It don't matter who said the line verse. Whoever put it on wax is theirs.
Yeah, it's theirs.
And also, I think he was playing Madden. It's that time of year. Got to be playing Madden.
Yeah. You know what? Here's the thing. College athletes have a history of hurting themselves in ways they shouldn't and then blaming it on something else.
No question.
So who knows if he was even playing video games when he hurt his hand?
True.
You know, I can think of some ways to hurt your hand that are not so, innocent as just playing video games and getting frustrated. I may or may not have broken a pinky before that way. So I'm not accusing him of lying about breaking his hand playing a video game.
He wouldn't do such a thing.
I'm just saying it's not outside the realm of possibility that he had to concoct a story about how he broke his hand, because sometimes you don't want to go to the coach and say, I got into a bar fight. Just throw it out there.
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby. This is Merle. Today's my 29th birthday. I wanted to call in and thank my husband for being an amazing husband on my birthday and giving me a great engagement ring after being married for 7 years. Also, Jacoby, I wanted you to talk to my husband. I'm trying to join the minivan mafia, but he says that with an SUV is perfectly enough and that we only have 2 kids, so we don't need it. So can you talk some sense into him, please? Shout out to everybody in the show. And keep giving the people what they want.
First of all, shout out to you guys for being parents.
No question. And happy 29th birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Good for you. You know what? There's a certain type of man that's not meant for the mafia. You know? There's a certain type of man that's not meant for the mafia. There's a certain type of person that just looks at a minivan and says, that will never be me. You know? And I get that. And that's fine. They can have 6 kids, but they'll say, I cannot succumb to that. Because that's just not who I am. I do not put my hands on the wheel of this sort of a vehicle, and I understand that. It's not for everybody. Us, Minivan Mafia members, we don't think like that. Do you know what we think like? This is a great way to transport my family.
Sounds like a secret society.
This is a pragmatic decision to make that is best for myself and my family. That's the kind of decisions that I make. I don't worry about what other people looking at me think. That's how the Minivan Mafia approaches their lifestyle. Yep. And you know what? It doesn't mean he's a bad person. He's obviously a great person. You guys listen to J&J together, got a couple kids. It just means that he might not be meant for the Mafia. Also, after he hears this, he's going to look in the mirror and say, I think I am meant for the Mafia. And then y'all about to be rolling in a brand new Pacifica. So you're welcome for that, Molly. I think your name is Molly. Marley, I couldn't really hear. Secondly, did she have a second question? I'm going to say no. Happy birthday to you. If you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. If you leave us a voicemail, we'll play it on the show just like this.
What up, though? This is Lenny from Sacramento. I've got a quick thing to say to Jalen and Jacoby. We need an NFL preview every week. Me and a couple of my friends rely heavily on Jalen's fantasy information, and, he is the reason why we won a couple of games. So we're going to need Jalen's fantasy info every week. Appreciate it. Shout out to Reggie. Shout out to Baron. Peace, guys.
Thank you for the call. We appreciate the love. What up, Doe? Lenny from SAC. Are you going to the game tonight when Boogie returns?
Boogie!
A couple of things. I love fantasy football. J&J has a fantasy football league.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows the big league that I'm in. That's pretty expensive to be a part of.
Very expensive to be a part of.
And it's just a wave of the future, almost like social media. So I'll do a better job of giving fantasy tips and updates about my personal squad to help you win your league.
We've been preempted a lot on the radio, so we haven't had the 2-hour show to fill, which we would normally do NFL previews and things of that nature. But now we will do so for Leonard in Sacramento.
No doubt. And also, a friend of the program, Anita Marks, who's in 15,000 fantasy leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw her recently and talked to her about coming on our program to do the exact same thing.
She's in so many leagues that she probably owns every single player in the league in one way or another. You know, like she's got every defense playing, every quarterback, every receiver, and somehow every time there's a touchdown, she scores. I don't know how it works, but that's exactly how it works. Jalen, let's talk about your team.
Let's get it.
Okay, because we don't do that much.
Okay.
And I assumed that you weren't talking about your team because your team was losing. But I assumed incorrectly.
You did.
You guys are, what, 6-1 now?
We are 5-2.
5-2. Okay.
Bad week because our bell cow, Leonard Fournette, was injured.
He'll be back, though.
He'll be back.
You heard what he said recently? Remember at the beginning of the year during preseason, he was like, oh, this game actually isn't that fast. He doubled down on it this week. I love it.
And also having to be a great GM to overcome the loss of Odell Beckham. Which a lot of people have had to deal with injury. The major trade because I have to run all of the moves clearly by Molly, it was a Giants player.
Okay.
Sterling Shepard was moved this week for Greg Olsen, who's on IR.
Oh, okay.
So, again, the team's going strong. I was able to acquire Watson as the quarterback. Phillip Rivers and he go back and forth each week. And so, this team is looking promising. I'll do a better job of making sure I give updates.
My update is Joel McKinnon. He was available probably a week and a half ago. I scooped him up in both leagues. You can work with him. You can work with Joel McKinnon. So, Jalen Rose, we are about 4 or 5 games into the NBA season. I've watched a lot of basketball. My wife is very upset about that. You've watched a lot of basketball as well. What are some things that stand out to you?
I am going to talk about something that isn't being reported, but it has stood out to me as I flip through League Pass, and it shows me the transparency and the strength of the NBA, that the product continues to endure. And so many teams have exciting storylines with this undercurrent of individuals who have missed games so far into the early season based on injury. We're talking first and foremost about the horrific injury that we saw Gordon Hayward, of course, endure. The member of the Boston Celtics playing versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. But how about this? Kawhi Leonard hasn't played yet.
And the Spurs haven't lost yet.
And they're 4-0.
That's terrifying.
Here's something that is interesting to me. The Morris twins, they're telepathic. There was a time in their careers they played on the same professional team. They lived in the same home. They have the same tattoos. They even have the same bank account.
Is that I never believe that when you say that.
You haven't heard it disputed?
No. But we also don't do too much research around here.
I don't put things on wax about players that aren't true. That's how you keep credibility in this business.
Okay.
With that being said, I'm going to put something out there that nobody's talking about or reporting.
Lance Stevenson, MVP candidate?
If you notice when one of those guys plays, both of those guys plays, or when one of those guys doesn't play, both of those guys don't play. If you watched the Boston Celtics game this year, and in the offseason you were like, man, we traded Avery Bradley for who?
And everyone talks about, Gordon Hayward, but they also added some other players, one of which was Morris, which I thought was going to be perfect fit for them.
I didn't see him get injured, and he's not playing. Was at the Wizards-Lakers game last night. That's where this came to me. I'm like, don't ask me to spell epiphany, but I got one.
Don't ask me to define epiphany.
I'm like, wait a minute. I would bet you that when they return, it's going to be at the same time.
Epiphany, I'm going with.
And also, let me go deeper into the box score. At this point of their career, you're probably not surprised that Derrick Rose and or Dwayne Wade have missed games.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that Anthony Davis, who's dealt with some injury history in his young career.
Yep.
How about CP3? He had a $200 million deal on the table with the Clippers.
Left it, because Jay-Z and Bob Iger told him not to.
As a 32-year-old point guard, he's going to get a lot of money to play basketball in the future. The largest number will not be $200 million. Again.
No. Do you think total for the rest of his career he makes $200 million? I could see that happening.
Maybe.
You can get some legacy deal at the end. Like Pau Gasol's still getting checks.
How about this? You're a fan of the Bulls. Mirotic and Bobby Portis can't get it together. One punches the other, fractures his face, gives him a concussion. Guess what? Neither one of them are playing now.
Yeah, and with the CP3 thing, going back to that for a second, he had the entire offseason to train and get ready, and he's got this new city he's going to go to. It's not same old, the Clippers, the Staples Center. So he prepared to start a season and then plays one game, and then the news about him isn't, he's going to be back next Thursday, he's working this out. It's maybe 4 weeks.
And I'm telling you, people were reporting it 2 to 4 weeks. And I don't like to be on the bottom of the ticker. But I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be 6 weeks. It ain't 2 to 4 weeks.
See, Jalen knows things. This is one of those moments where it's like, that you didn't just say, based on my medical expertise, I think it's going to be 6 weeks. That's not what you said. You said, I don't want to be on the bottom of the ticker, which let me translate that for someone who's just driving home and doesn't listen every day. That means I have sources, but I don't want to give up my sources because to get in the bottom of the ticker, you have to tell the newsroom who your sources are, and I don't get down like that because I'm Tom Brady with the phone.
Yes, indeed. And we've had a unique offseason where, for the first time in decades, no NBA team changed coaches this offseason.
No NBA coach was fired last year.
Yet, we've already had one coach be fired. That's Earl Watson.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Fred Hoiberg. I thought there was new news. Because Hoiberg saw NBA coach fired. He got the notification on his phone. He was just like, this is how I'm going to find out. This is how I'm going to find out.
So, again, the enthusiasm of what's happening in OKC. Clearly, LeBron, whatever position he's playing, and the Greek Freak continuing to excite. The Golden State Warriors. I could go on and on and on about the greatness of the NBA and how the game is in such a good place that the things I just described don't become news, that are literally happening and affecting the team you root for.
Draymond got hurt for a game. He was out for a game. He missed a game. There's a lot of players out there that have missed for injury. Now, as an ex-NBA player, this is what the media fan guy says is, he wasn't preparing during the offseason, or he didn't, he's out of shape. He's not in mid-season form. Is there any truth to that, or is it just the randomness of it just happened to happen early in the season?
Each of these seem like the randomness and or guys that at this point of their careers, they're just going to be brittle. Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
For different reasons, at different points of their careers, different ages. The other were not things that you were able to anticipate. Not the Morris twins.
Nope.
Definitely not Kawhi. Certainly not Gordon Hayward. You talked about Chris Paul.
and Anthony Davis. It's going to be interesting to see as his future Hall of Fame career plays out if he can stay healthy for long periods of time.
So, Markieff Morris has been reported that he's playing 4-4 and that he's going to come back soon. Are you trying to insinuate that when Markieff Morris comes back, Marcus Morris will also come back?
Hit the brakes. I ain't trying to insinuate anything. I'm telling you.
Do you think this is something that the universe makes happen, that they're healthy and unhealthy at the same time, or is this something that they text each other about?
You tell me. You have twins.
It's the universe. That's what it is. It's the universe. That's what it is. My twins can communicate without saying a word. They're just kind of in sync with each other. Get hungry at the same time, get tired at the same time, cry at the same time, or happy at the same time.
They may not even realize they're doing it.
And Markieff had a sports hernia surgery. I had that as well, and my hernia doctor told me something. There's no such thing as a sports hernia surgery. Here's a question. What's going on with Dwayne Wade for real? What's going on with Dwayne Wade for real?
I said it from the beginning of the season when he was in the starting lineup. I gave an over-under on this program of 10 games that would last. I think it lasted 3. And in the fourth game, scores in double figures for the first time all year. So he's good now.
Do you feel that is there 20% to add to the Cavs on the basketball floor and 80% to keep LeBron happy off the basketball floor?
That's the great ratio.
You think that's it? You think 20, 80?
And also, here's a dynamic that the Cavs are still going to have to iron out that nobody's talking about. What do they do in the crunch time? Minutes. Who's going to have the ball? Because that transition happened when Kyrie was there. He was the person making the play,
the ball, yes,
or the shot. So with Isaiah out and Wade not starting, all of a sudden I could see the microphones in front of Ty Lue's face. And remember, LeBron played. First off, LeBron is an icon. I'm not here to break down LeBron James' game. But what I will say is, after once playing point guard for the 5th time in his career, people was like, oh, he's Magic Johnson. And I remember speaking into a microphone saying you could do that against the Bulls because they don't have a legitimate starting point guard for him to play against on the other end.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you play against who? The Nets. I'm not going to even challenge you to ask you who their point guard is or who made the big 3 late because none of you guys know.
Just don't.
Dunwoody made the big shot. And you know what else? They lost. And Ty Lue said basically what I said in reverse. Everybody out here worried about us using the Nets pick. The way we playing, we need to be
worried about our pick.
They probably want to get our pick, not the other way around.
Something tells me the Cavs will be fine in the end.
Yeah. Hold on, hit the brakes. Hit the brakes. For everybody out there that loves to shout out the 4th member of the team, Katie's 3rd. Now, Reggie's 4th. What? Reggie has not seen Paid in Full. Let me say this on wax in the front of a microphone for everybody that calls into this program. The same guy who slandered Cameron has never seen Paid in Full. This makes sense.
I wasn't surprised when I learned that Harlan and Allison had never had Popeyes. I was like, I get it. You know what I mean? You know, maybe Popeyes wasn't available when you were growing up, and you always had the decision to KFC or Popeyes, and some people just lean towards KFC. But this is shocking.
This need to be at the bottom of the ticker.
Reggie has not seen Paid in Full.
Show. This should be breaking news on the bottom.
And he's going to do the thing that Bill used to do at Grantland when he caught up with some pop culture after everyone else has seen it. Like, he's going to come in tomorrow and be like, Paid in Full's a great movie, guys. And we're like, I don't want to have that conversation, Reg. I watched Paid in Full
for the culture
so long ago.
It's such a classic, Reg.
I need to watch it again just to remember what happened.
Trust me, Reg. I've never told you to watch a movie. You have to watch Paid in Full.
I'm trying to think. You probably told me to watch a movie before.
I have not. Put it this way, Reg. The way you told me that I had the potential to get waves, I'm telling you, you must see Paid in Full. Please do that for the culture.
So, Jalen, you're familiar with John Fitzgerald Kennedy, right?
Yes, love him.
Former president, just a universally accepted and loved president.
Love him.
Unifying force that was murdered in
Robert
Dallas.
F. Kennedy as well.
About 54 years ago. There are some secret documents.
Why is 45 doing this?
Oh, it's a diversion tactic. We know that. But let's move on. There's some secret documents that might be released as a diversion tactic to keep us off of what's really important.
And speaking of 45, I just have to say this because I know how to count.
Don't get fired, Jalen.
Hold on a second.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
All I know is JFK was somebody that was about fairness and equality. Our current president has been divisive in a lot of ways. That's all I'm going to say. But there have been 44 people to hold the office of presidency. So that means he's the 44th president. Why do we continue to have the numbers off when one individual held office twice? It's been 44 presidents, not 45.
Okay. I didn't think we got fired there. I was really concerned. Jalen. No.
I know why he's doing this to JFK, too.
You know why I'm doing this to you, too, right? I'm trying to keep this job. I got 3 kids. They will kick us off the air. They just turned the lights off in the studio, if you're listening. Now there's a red siren. So they're going to release some documents about JFK as a diversion tactic. In your mind, based on what you know, you've seen the Zapruder film, what do you think happened? Like, what is your theory on the JFK assassination? I've always wanted to know this.
I think the assassination was also what you just described, a diversion tactic.
Ooh.
I think the individual who was actually accused,
Lee Harvey Oswald,
of the fatal shots that ultimately killed JFK was somebody that wasn't acting independently.
Okay.
Who's also someone whose strategy was too deft. Almost like the unfortunate assassination of MLK. If you look at some of the documentaries that have been discussed as it relates to both of their assassinations, they're eerily similar in a lot of ways. How they ultimately were tragically murdered. And so I don't think he was acting independently in concocting a plan. And I would not be surprised, based on some forensics that have been shown,
second gunman,
that there wasn't a second individual that actually killed JFK.
I'm glad we got that on wax. I've always been curious. Very quickly, before they kick us out.
Who I love, by the way. I got a picture of him in my office.
What's up with Josh Smith signing with the Pelicans? Are they trying to win games?
They're trying to.
They're trying to come up. They're
trying to get Alvin Gentry a nervous breakdown.
That's what's going to happen. They're just going to be like, we'll hire Josh Smith. He'll ruin the locker room just like he did with the Clippers. And then we'll have a reason to fire Al Gentry.
The bottom line is, I don't think Boogie's future is with the Pelicans. Hopefully they can parlay that into an asset that satisfies Anthony Davis so they don't lose him soon after.
It doesn't feel like hiring Josh Smith, who's worked out for a lot of different teams, is a move to win basketball games.
Keep getting them checks, Jay Smooth.
You got Jay Smooth, Rondo, and Boogie on the same team. What do you think of that locker room?
A lot of emotion.
A lot of emotion.
Emotion
can go a lot of different directions. We'll see which direction it goes for the Pelicans. I'm not sure it's going to go towards W's. Thank you so much for tuning in to Jalen Jacoby. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, to DVR Series Record, our show on ESPN2 and ESPN News, because we will always give the people what they want.